iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto, get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. We are looking at Waiver Wire Wednesday, so let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on. As I mentioned to you before, lots of teams on bye weeks, okay? Green Bay, Tennessee, Rams, Giants, Cardinals, Jacksonville. So that's this week, okay? That's just this week. Next week, another mess. Seriously, another mess. Chicago, Cleveland, Minnesota, New England, Pittsburgh, the Chargers. I mean, this is an unmitigated mess. Week 10, you've got Kansas City, Oakland, Philadelphia, and Baltimore. Kansas City and Philadelphia, two excellent teams, right? And week 11, you've got Indianapolis, the Jets, San Francisco, and Carolina. So you have 4 weeks ahead of us. 4 weeks that we have to get through the minefields. We have to. I would think in the Fantasy Football World Championship, if you could be putting up about a 130 each week over the next 4 weeks, you're going to have a really good shot. Normally 150 is the number, but with all these bye weeks, man, I'm thinking if you can get 130, over the next 2 weeks especially, you've done a very good job. So, look, go through your team. I tend to take things 1 week at a time, especially with this many bye weeks. I don't think we can plan too far ahead. I know a lot of people like to go, well, my Dr. Roto in week 11, my quarterback's on bye. I got to get through week 8. Okay? I got to get through week 8. I can't worry about week 11. I got to get through week 8. So let's just worry about 1 week at a time. Let's get through week 8. Then we'll get through week 9. Then we'll get through week 10. And we'll figure it out. Okay? That's how you're going to have to approach this. If you don't, it's going to be a real problem. Okay? So, some news here. Myles Garrett in the league's concussion protocol. If that's the case, right? If that's the case, I would think that this opens up and makes it a little bit better for the Minnesota Vikings running game. Not that they needed more than that. The Browns are going to go to DeShone Kizer again. That's just a bad life decision. I mean, he's terrible. I think you know what it is with Hugh Jackson? He plays him. And then it's like, well, okay, halftime, let me bring in a guy who's better. Maybe Kizer is the guy who should come in at halftime. Just throwing it out there. Don't like him at all. So Kizer is playing. Looks like, if I had to guess, that Myles Garrett will play, especially now he's got to fly to London. I don't see that happening. That's a problem. Noah Spence on the injured reserve with a shoulder injury. So that's a big problem there for Tampa. Tampa's defense has been a wreck. Really has been a wreck. So have to watch that closely there as well. The Cowboys sign Mike Nugent, not Ted Nugent for all you Fletch fans, but Mike Nugent will be the starting kicker. I'm not a big fan of Nugent. I think he's safe. What I like about Nugent is that within like the 45-yard line, he's pretty good. Outside of that, he's not a 50-yard field goal kicker. So that's a little bit of a problem for me. But I think that's where he is. All right, so let's get to the waiver wire. At quarterback, let's take a look at Josh McCown, yeah? I mean, Josh McCown has been just doing everything right. The question is, he plays Atlanta this week. Will this be a good week? I don't think so, but Atlanta's been mercurial. We don't really know what to expect from them every week. I'm not a big fan of McCown, but I guess he is playable. I think Andy Dalton has a rebound week. I do. I think he has a rebound week because he was bad last week. Bad. But he gets the Indianapolis Colts, come to Cincinnati. It just seems that the Colts have been reeling as well, so this should be the good game for Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. I'm never going to go that in on them because at the end of the day, I just struggle with them. But, I mean, A.J. Green could have a big play or two, and Andy Dalton could be part of that. I mean, look, this could be one of those A.J. Green games where he gets 186 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Andy Dalton throws for 220, right? 186 to A.J. Green, and the other 34 to 2 other guys. I mean, that's how he works. If somebody dropped Jared Goff, which could happen, pick him up. right? With all these bye weeks, people may be dropping people. If Jared Goff is out there, pick him up. I like what's going on there. Matt Moore. How about Matt Moore? I told you guys I lit a candle praying to the fantasy gods. Please get Jay Cutler out of there. And the fantasy gods listened. This is what happens if you pray. People listen. The man upstairs listens. So I'll tell you this, that Matt Moore is not a great quarterback, but he's certainly better than Jay Cutler. Okay? He's never going to be confused with Y.A. Tittle or Terry Bradshaw or Roger Staubach, but he doesn't suck. He probably should have been the quarterback from week 1. So if he's out there, get him. C.J. Beathard. I know the 49ers lost last week. I absolutely understand that. But I don't think it was all C.J. Beathard's fault. I thought the defense played horribly and they couldn't stop Ezekiel Elliott. You can't stop Zeke, you're going to lose. So I know that Beathard didn't have a great game, but let's not bury him just yet. Also, I'd be looking at Teddy Bridgewater. I believe the following, that Teddy Bridgewater will absolutely get a shot to play this year. And I'm going to tell you why. So let me give you the pertinent information here. Teddy Bridgewater, one moment please. He signed a 4-year rookie deal, right? That includes the club option for a 5th year. Okay? So, right now, they need to see what they have in Teddy Bridgewater right now. Remember? Because he's a first rounder. They get that 5th year option. I think they want to see what they have with Teddy Bridgewater, so I do believe he plays at some point this season. Okay? Running back. First of all, Wendell Smallwood. If you watched any of that game, first of all, great job by the Eagles. Secondly, LeGarrette Blount barely got a touch until the 4th quarter when they were up. Otherwise, it was a Wendell Smallwood love fest. And this guy looked really good. So I have no problem playing Wendell Smallwood this week. And if he's out there, please get him right now. I like Alfred Morris this week. I think he's good. How about Lat Murray? Lat Murray looked tremendous last week, and now Cleveland with a great run defense, but with no Myles Garrett most likely, maybe the Vikings run the ball a little bit better this weekend. Can't use it for DFS because that game's in England. But certainly in seasonal, I might be playing Lat Murray this week. I know it's a bad matchup, but I think I like it. How about Dion Lewis? So, Mike Gillislee, man, he's toast. This guy's toast. I hate to say it, but it's true. So you've got Rex Burkhead, who played some snaps, maybe about 20% of the snaps. Dion Lewis is getting a bunch of snaps. Gillislee's getting snaps. James White's getting snaps. The problem there with the Patriots is you just don't know who on a week-to-week basis is going to be the guy. You just don't know. And that's the problem. So, in bye-week hell, which we're going through over the next 4 weeks, I think these guys have value. But moving forward after that, I don't think any of them have value until the situation clears itself up. And right now, it's not. So we got to watch that closely. For the Jets, same thing. Bilal Powell, Matt Forte, Elijah McGuire. So these running backs by committee are really, really hurting fantasy owners. I love Bilal Powell. I love Mike Gillislee. I loved Rex Burkhead. In August, now I don't like any of these guys. Seriously, I don't like any of these guys. Is this a Theo Riddick week? With no Golden Tate, is this a Theo Riddick week? I'm just throwing it out there. If he's on your waiver wire, I don't hate it. I would think that if Abdullah gets injured and with Golden Tate out, this could be a Theo Riddick week. Just throwing it out there. So I got a couple of guys for you. First of all, my guy is Austin Ekeler. This guy is pretty darn good. And I think Phillip Rivers knows it. I think he surpassed Brandon Oliver, right, on the depth chart. I compared him to Darren Sproles, but I'm not sure that's fair because he's a little bit bigger than Sproles. But I like what this guy can do. So watch him closely. Seriously, watch him closely. I think he's the 3rd down back for the Chargers. And it's not Brandon Oliver. If Melvin Gordon gets hurt, I think it's more Keller. That's the guy I want to own. Okay, speaking of owning guys. There's a player who I think may be the guy who wins you a fantasy league. Now, this is just, call it a hunch. Call it a visionary selection. Call it Donta Foreman. I am so impressed by this guy. so impressed by this guy that if Lamar Miller should get hurt, yeah, I know there's Alfred Blue and guys like that, but man, Donta Foreman is fast and strong. And I think this guy would get the job and get 20 carries for 90 yards a game and a touchdown. With that offense, man, I'm loving this guy. So if you have a spot on your roster, go get yourself some Donta Foreman. I like him. I do. I like him a lot. Take a look at Devonta Booker. I think how this is going to shake out is that Jamal Charles is going to be the first and second down running back, and Booker may be the third. So you may want a piece of that. Okay, you may want a piece of that. How about Danny Woodhead? He's not far away. He's not far away. Looking like week 11 is when he returns. They have a bye week in week 10. Maybe now is the time to get Danny Woodhead. He's probably gone already in most leagues, but just in case he's out there, Danny Woodhead, go get him. Okay? Let me throw one other guy, and I called it the stash and cash, Corey Clement. If LeGarrette Blount were to go down, or Wendell Smallwood were to go down, I think we see more of Corey Clement. How about James Conner? No Lev Bell means a lot of James Conner. I like it. Okay? Let's get to our wide receivers. So I think the wide receivers have to begin and end with Detroit right now. So with Golden Tate injured, you've got a couple of guys. First of all, you've got Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay is a big, strong dude. He's like 6'4", 220 pounds. He is a big presence in the red zone. Okay? You just throw that up, and this guy's going to pull that ball down. So I'm a fan. I'm also a fan of TJ Jones, who plays a slot. So take a look at him, TJ Jones as well. He could be a 5 to 6 catch guy, and Golladay could be a 3 to 4 catch guy, and Marvin Jones could be the 6 to 7 catch guy. I like it. I like what's going on there. I think the Steelers are going to be a little overrated this week after what happened last week. I think they're slightly going to be overrated on defense. Okay? They've been playing great defense, but now you're on the road. Lions do better at home. It's a bad match. I don't know. I just think I like the Lions this week. Corey Davis is going to come back in a week. So if he's out there in your leagues, you got to get him right now. You got to get him right now. I mentioned it yesterday. Get him right now. Ted Ginn, I believe, is the wide receiver 2 for the New Orleans Saints, and not Willie Snead. If he's available in your league, get him now. I really like him at home. I think this week is a Ted Ginn week for me. Chicago at New Orleans. Chicago struggles with the number 2 receiver. Can you not see Drew Brees going deep to Ted Ginn? I see it, guys. I see a touchdown there for Ted Ginn this week. I do. Now, we are how many weeks away? We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks away from the playoffs. Usually there's a guy like no Sean Moreno a few years ago, Jonathan Grimes a couple of years ago, Jordan Todman a couple of years ago. There's a guy who emerges in the playoffs. But right now, prior to the playoffs, I'm not sure you're going to find a better free agent than Josh Doctson. Josh Doctson is a future star in this league. He's a future star in this league. Fact. Terrell Pryor is not a good fit for this offense. He's unreliable. And if there's ever a guy who shouldn't have left Cleveland, it was Terrell Pryor. Because the Browns needed him and he needed the Browns. Because there was no pressure in Cleveland. Now with Washington, there's pressure. When Kirk Cousins throws the ball to you deep, you can't drop it. Because Terrell Pryor is not a natural pass catcher. But Josh Doctson is. And I love this dude. Go pay up for him. Don't be shy. I don't think you're going to get a better guy out there in your waiver wire. Do what you need to do. Get yourself some Josh Doctson right now. Kenny Stills, I think people will want Kenny Stills. I think he'll be a little bit better with Matt Moore. But remember, Devontae Parker will be back soon. You have Parker, you have Landry. Go easy on Kenny Stills. Okay, go easy on Kenny Stills. I like Jordan Matthews. I think Jordan Matthews, you could get at a bargain. Demarcus Robinson. His value's gone up. I mentioned him the last couple of weeks. You know, look, guys, I can only tell you so many times about getting players. And then all of a sudden, when they go off, now they cost you more. Demarcus Robinson looked very good last week. Probably going to cost you 5 times as much as he would have last time. You know, this is what I can do for you. Okay? Maybe, here's another guy for you. Let's see. How about Mike Williams? If there's an injury to Tyrell Williams, if there's an injury to Keenan Allen Roto, maybe Mike Williams gets some more time. I think he's somebody to watch closely. Okay, for tight ends. A few of them for you. 1, Jared Cook. Carr looked his way a bunch last week at 100 yards. I don't think he gets 100 yards every week, but I do like him a lot. 2, A.J. Derby. Go easy on A.J. Derby. Remember, Emmanuel Sanders was hurt 2 weeks ago, and he was out last week. All those Derby targets will go to Emmanuel Sanders. Don't overpay for A.J. Derby. That was game flow. They were behind, and Sanders was out. Be careful. Okay? George Kittle was disgusting last week. 1 for 15. Everybody's going to abandon him, except you. You're going to listen to this podcast, and you're going to pick up George Kittle because he's a player. He had a bad game. Dallas covered him well. I get it. Let's move on. George Kittle's a very good player, and C.J. Beathard loves him. I like him this week. Remember, you screwed me last week, doesn't mean you screwed me this week. O.J. Howard. Man, how good is this guy going to be? Seriously, 2 touchdowns. This is a big, exciting player. The problem is he's got to share time with Cameron Brate, and that ain't so great. Okay, but I like O.J. Howard. Bid on him, but don't go crazy on him. There'll be weeks where he does well. There'll be weeks that he does badly. If Cameron Brate gets hurt, oh my God, I'm all in on O.J. Howard. So he's more of a stash and cash for me than a big-time free agent signing. So be careful with him. Don't go in too much on him. Just a little, not too much. Okay? I want you to also check out scoutdfs.com. Check out our optimizer. Check out what's going on there. Check out our articles. Check out the podcasts. My man Fuego and I do one every Friday night to help you. Also go on to scoutfantasy.com. Enter the promo code ROTO2017. Get half off your first month. Be a member of the Scout Army. You bring your team in there. Some guy, my man Keith, came in, put his team in there. He paid for Scout Fantasy. He's like, what do we do? People are talking to him. Ronas answering his question. Me answering his question. You're getting experts answering your question. I can't be on Twitter all the time. First of all, it's not fair to all the people who pay for Scout Fantasy. And B, I get like a zillion questions on Twitter. How many can I possibly answer? I answer a couple a day. That's it. Just how it works. You want us to answer your questions? Join Scout Fantasy, and I'll give you as much time as I can. And I know Ronas will and Sean Childs will. We want you to win your fantasy football leagues, and we make it happen at scoutfantasy.com. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Back tomorrow with free agent bidding results, and of course a preview of the Miami Dolphins and Baltimore Ravens. Wishing you guys a great day. Be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!